Good day, everyone. Our headline for today is the approved Republic Act number 10157 by the President of the Philippines, Benigno A. Aquino III. Began and held in Metro Manila on Monday, the 25th day of July 2011. Republic Act number 10157, an act institutionalizing kindergarten education into the basic education system and appropriating funds therefore. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines in Congress assembled Section 1, short title. This act shall be known as the Kindergarten Education Act. Section 2, Declaration of Policy. In consonance with the Millennium Development Goals on achieving education for all by the year 2015, it is hereby declared the policy of the state to provide equal opportunities for all children to avail of accessible, mandatory, and compulsory kindergarten education that effectively promotes physical, social, intellectual, emotional, and skills stimulation and values formation to sufficiently prepare them for formal elementary schooling. This act shall apply to elementary school system, being the first stage of compulsory and mandatory formal education. Thus, kindergarten will now be an integral part of the basic education system of the country. Kindergarten is vital to the academic and technical development of the Filipino child, for it is the period when young minds' absorptive capacity for learning is at its sharpest. It is also the policy of the state to make education learner-oriented and responsive to the needs, cognitive and cultural capacity, the circumstances and diversity of learners, schools, and communities through the appropriate languages of teaching and learning. Section 3, Definition of Terms. The terms used in this act are defined as follows. DepEd shall refer to the Department of Education. BE shall refer to the Bureau of Elementary Education. Kindergarten education shall be understood in this act to mean 1 year of preparatory education for children at least 5 years old as a prerequisite for grade 1, and mother tongue refers to the language first learned by a child. Section 4, Institutionalization of Kindergarten Education. Kindergarten education is hereby institutionalized as part of basic education, and for school year 2011 to 2012 shall be implemented partially, and thereafter it shall be made mandatory and compulsory for entrance to grade 1. Section 5, Medium of Instruction. The state shall hereby adopt the mother tongue-based multilingual education method. The mother tongue of the learner shall be the primary medium of instruction for teaching and learning in the kindergarten level. However, exceptions shall be made to the following cases. When the pupils in the kindergarten classroom have different mother tongues, or when some of them speak another mother tongue. When the teacher does not speak the mother tongue of the learners. When resources in line with the use of the mother tongue are not yet available, and when teachers are not yet trained how to use the MTV-MLE program. In such exceptional cases, the primary medium of instruction shall be determined by the DepEd aligned with the framework being used in the elementary level, including teacher training and production of local resources and materials under DepEd Order Number 74 Series of 2009. The DepEd, in coordination with the Commission on Filipino Language and in close collaboration with academic and research institutions concerned with education, shall formulate a mother tongue-based multilingual framework for teaching and learning, provided that the DepEd will include teaching strategies as defined in Section 7C, which aims to introduce and eventually strengthen the child's understanding of English, which is the official language. Section 6. Implementing Agency. The authority to regulate the organization, operation, and/or implementation of the kindergarten education program of both public and private schools shall be vested upon the DepEd through the creation of a new division under the BEE and other necessary support to achieve successful implementation of kindergarten education, to include, but not limited to, increasing the number of kindergarten teacher positions with the required salaries and benefits, enhancing teacher training in early education, and providing the necessary allocations for classrooms and chairs, facilities and equipment, and textbooks. The other information will be given to you by Cicely Maglangit live at the Malacañang Palace Ground. Cicely?
Thank you, Benny Kate Lapin. Good day from 24 News here in Malacañang Palace Ground. Good to be with you. I'm Cecily Maglan. Republic Act Number 10157, Section 7. Duties, Powers, and Functions. The DepEd through the BEE shall exercise the following powers and functions. Oversee and supervise the organization, operation, and implementation of the kindergarten education program. Develop the curriculum for kindergarten education consistent with the universally accepted norms and standards, including values formation, all of which shall be developmentally appropriate, and use of the MTB-MLE as a medium of instruction, and to periodically review such for purposes of upgrading. Develop teaching strategies using the unique feature of the MTB-MLE, which shall include but not limited to the following: the two-track method, storytelling and reading, listening story and communication activities, interactive as strategies, use of manipulative games, and experiential small group and discussions, and total physical response or TPR, among others. The learning development material shall consist of the following at the minimum: listening story, small books, big books, experience story, primary lessons, and lesson exemplars. Conceive, develop, and extend a continuing professional development program for kindergarten teachers to ensure constant updating of their knowledge in current trends, pedagogy, methodologies, and concept on early childhood education. Prescribe the necessary qualification for the hiring and accreditation of teachers who will handle the kindergarten education program. Exercise authority over the operation of private kindergarten institutions. Supervise the establishment of various venues for early childhood education, which may be institutional based, home-based, hospital-based, or community-based, and which shall be duly accredited by the DepEd, and introduce innovative programs in kindergarten that shall include educational technologies whenever applicable. Section 8. Appropriations. The DepEd shall immediately include in the program or the department the operationalization of the free, mandatory, and compulsory public kindergarten education, the initial funding of which shall be charged against the current appropriation for kindergarten education of the DepEd. Thereafter, such sums which shall be necessary for the continued implementation of the free public kindergarten education program shall be charged to the general fund and included in the Annual General Appropriations Act. Section 9. Implementing rules and regulations. Within 90 days, after the effectivity of the Act, the DepEd, in consultation with the Department of Budget and Management, shall promulgate the rules and regulations needed for the implementation of this act. Section 10. Separability Clause. If any provision of this act is held invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity and effectivity of the other provision thereof. Section 11. Repealing Clause. Pertinent provision of all other laws, decrees, executive orders, and rules and regulations contrary to or inconsistent with the provision of this act are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. Last but not the least, Section 12. Effectivity Clause. This act shall take effect 15 days after its publication in the official gazette or into newspapers or general circulation. This RA 10157 approved by Sergeant Juan Ponce Enrile, President of the Senate, and Sergeant Feliciano Belmonte Jr., the Speaker of the House of Representatives. This act, which originated the House of Representatives, was finally passed by the House of Representatives and the Senate on November 23, 2011 and November 21, 2011 respectively. Sergeant Emma Lerio Reyes, Secretary of the Senate, Sergeant Marilyn B. Baroa Yap, Secretary General, House of Representatives, approved on January 20, 2012. Sergeant Benigno S. Aquino III, the President of the Philippines. I am Cecily Maglangit. This is the 24 News.
So that's all for today's breaking news brought to you by 24 News.